Confession time. As much as I love Criss, he's been pushing for a raise, folks. That's right. Here in the YouTube channel, he's been pushing for a raise. Criss, I don't know about the raise just yet, but bada-boom, a chance to win a quarter. Kind of a lackluster offer, I guess. Well, I'm going to do a prediction. I'm going to write a prediction on the coin, okay? A little prediction to see if maybe, even though Criss is a bit of a Meister card guy, see if I can maybe deceive him. I'll write this prediction here. Let's see. Okay, and I'm going to get some on my finger at the same time. That's awesome. Okay. Watch me, going down. I'm going down very slowly. I know Criss might be eager to keep the eye on the cash. Put it inside there. Okay? Just like that. There's my bet. Quarter inside. Criss, I'm not going to have you reach in and grab a card, okay? I could use a classic force or something. Let's just keep it real simple. At some point, I want you to say, give me the money.
Give me the money.
Okay, now look, you might have, the 9 of hearts might have been a psychological force. Sure, it looks like the 10, but so let's do this. Instead of me going through and having you call stop at one of the cards you just saw, let's use the next card. Okay, I'm going to slowly do this. Let's see. Boom. 3 hearts. Interesting. Now, you could have said, give me the money at any of those cards. We narrowed it down to the 3 of hearts. Look. Right here. Just the one coin. Going to give you a chance to focus. Yes, look. Right there. 3 of hearts. Now, Criss, not only did I get it right, I'm going to let you keep the coin as a little souvenir of the experience, and I'm actually going to make it even more interesting because look, I'm going to give you a box of mint as well. In fact, watch, I'm going to bring the 2 items, kind of cool. You're going to see me actually take them and put them together. And what's really cool is when your friends closely examine the box of mints, and they will, they'll find there are absolutely no tears in the seal. It's exactly sealed as if it just came from the factory. This sanity crunching trick is a great example of what I call building. When you have a trick, and you do one trick and then you immediately follow it up with one other little addition, it's almost like if you imagine someone screaming like this, they're at their sort of peak response, and then you do something on top of that. People get overwhelmed. They can get overwhelmed with their emotions because of a trick like this. Because you got the first part with a prediction, and in and of itself, and I want to warn you right now, make sure, and you've heard me say this before on the channel, give every moment its due. It's very important. Audiences sense, and I learned this in stand-up comedy years ago, audiences sense if there's another tag coming, another punchline on the punchline, and they don't consciously save up their laughter, but they start to understand to hold back a bit, And I don't want that in my show. Okay, so it's really important that when you do the first phase of this, there's this sense of, okay, that was pretty cool. You could have said, you know, give me the money at any time, and I predicted it. It's on this coin. I guess I get to keep my quarter. Very cool. And then the next second later, there's this box of mints. You slam the coin clearly inside, and you give it to be examined. Okay. Now, first, another thing too is you don't have to give this away. Of course, you can say I'm going to keep my quarter, but I'll tell you what. I'll show you one last quick trick with it. Boom. What do I got here? I got a box of mints. Boom, like that. And you can take a look at that. So you don't have to give this away, but for that extra special show, you give this away, and you've got a great, great souvenir. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, I also a big thanks to my brother in magic, probably one of my oldest and dearest friends, brilliant magician. You've all heard his name. If you haven't, I don't know, search his stuff. It's all over the place. He's a brilliant guy, Richard Sanders. You know, he has an approach towards magic that's really, it's fresh, it's subtle, and you know, I've learned a lot from him over the years. And anyway, he was the first person to share with me the idea about using a just drawn prediction as a way of making a coin unique. Now, this is not the same as somebody has their initial on the coin, it's true. But it's also not just another quarter, and it's also not just another quarter with my initials on it. It's something that they were directly involved in. I had a coin, I said I'm gonna make a prediction. And in fact, you can even borrow a quarter, which is really cool with this. You can borrow a quarter. Now, you got to be careful. I know in some countries in the U.S., there's so many different kinds of quarters that someone could hand you one, and it's got a red diamond in the pirate's eye, and it's not going to match what you got. It's true. But if you're in a bar and you got who's got some change, people get some change on the table or in a glass or whatever, or you can even reach in your own pocket. And let's say you've got some quarters and pennies and dimes, and you've made sure all the quarters are visually matching. You can say, go ahead, grab one of the coins. I'm going to try something. I'm going to risk one of my quarters. So they get to choose one. So there's lots of ways to imply that a coin is absolutely unique. And this idea of I'm going to make a prediction right here, right now, on your coin or my coin, I'm going to make a prediction right now, and they see you draw it on, turns the item into a very, if not absolutely unique in the universe, a big step closer to that. So that idea of something that you just made in front of them now becomes, in some sense, a unique item. So when it vanishes and appears someone else, or somewhere else, or in this case appears right here, it's even more magical. So a great bit of psychology from Richard Sanders. I also want to emphasize that if you take an item, you make it vanish, and it appears across the room, the further from you, or the more entrapped the item is, the greater chance people thinking it's a duplicate, of course. So with this, and I'm going to break down the handling in a second to show you how visual it is, with this, it's as if the quarter never leaves sight. The quarter that the magician just wrote something on, and wow, he got it. I don't know how he got that prediction right. The quarter doesn't leave sight as it penetrates inside the box. Then you hand out everything. I've been obsessed for a gazillion years with zebras covered in peanut butter. No, I've been obsessed for zillions of years with the idea of things appearing inside something that is clear for maximum visibility and something that is contained. To me, that's a magic high ground. If the item so this is not so much a coin that vanishes right and appears in here. It's a coin that visually penetrates inside. And so for me, whether we're talking window envelopes or whether we're talking, I've got a trick called Contained, actually. It's called Contained. And each gimmick is handmade. You'll find it on my website, the merch site, SankeyMagic.com. But it's probably sold out if you don't find it there, because every time I get a few hundred handmade, because it's a whole process to get the gimmicks made, the trick quickly sells out. So I'll send out a notice when I get them back in stock. But anyway, it's called Contained, and it uses a medicine capsule, a pill bottle. And it's the inspiration behind there was the same as this, where things change, vanish, appear inside a clear, so you can watch it happen, but contained, so there's no way for the magician to get inside. So I love that combination. So this is another example. Now, final thing I'm going to mention here before we jump in. You're going to find a link below this video for you to download a free PDF of 2 different sizes of the Tic Tac label. Because the technique of the penetration requires 180 revolution of this. And if you've got Tic Tacs on one side and in black clear ink the list of the contents, the ingredients inside, on the other, the visual of it being empty on this side and some of the coins appearing, if they're two different, if the labels look different on both sides, the illusion is dramatically undercut. And I discovered this years ago. So I thought what I need to do is have my graphics guy do a custom design of a Tic Tac label that's the same on both sides. That's the key to the final penetration, and the visuals are so convincing. There's no sense of a turnover because they're the same on both sides. So you're going to find a free PDF, the link's down below. You'll get a free PDF file of both. Tic Tacs used to be available in only smaller boxes, but now they're available in smaller and larger. You'll find both sizes, the custom full color label, which you can then download and print off on either regular paper or high gloss or even an adhesive, like a label paper, so you'll be able to cut it out and immediately use it. You'll find a link below this video. Okay, now let's break down the handling. There's a whole bunch of cool details I can't wait to share with you. Let's start first by showing you how you can assemble your own super cool Tic Tac box, okay? So first thing I've done is I've got 2 quarters, and I've written 3 of hearts on both of them. You do not have to do this. You can do this on the fly, but what I like about this is I made sure they look very, very similar. The penetration of the quarter inside the box looks so visual, and there's only a slightest beat between the coin being here and the coin being there. You really want the two to look as similar as possible for this whole Richard Sanders idea of using the just written prediction on a coin to make it an absolute unique object, okay? So it's nice that they're similar. So that's what I've done first step here, okay? Second step is I grab a Tic Tac box, and sometimes they come off easy, sometimes they're a pain in the butt, but I'm gonna take the label off here carefully, like that, okay? I'm not gonna use this again. Now, because this is a smaller box, I downloaded and printed out on full color paper. This is not adhesive paper, but the smaller PDF of the two, okay? Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to open this up, use my pair of scissors, or maybe you could use a knife, maybe, I don't know, something else, maybe a frog's leg or something. Remove all these, take one of the 2 quarters and lay it flat down inside the box, near the bottom, okay? Lay it flat and keep it flat, because what you don't want to do, scooch these back in. Let's see if I'm going to screw this up or not. Obviously, you don't want, well, not obviously, but you don't want any Tic Tacs between the coin and the clear wall. Okay, so I want to put those down in there, and maybe now I'm feeling I can tip it up. Let's see. How's it looking? Oh, it's looking good. Okay. Take the rest of the Tic Tacs. You could definitely have a couple, but don't take too many, because you want it fully packed so the quarter doesn't start to slip behind some. Okay, so we got like that. Then I'm going to take this, put it back on top. Let's see. There we go. Put that down. Almost there. In this case, because I didn't print this out on a full color adhesive paper, like label paper, I guess you could say, I'm going to put some glue on this. Okay. Like that. That should be enough for now. And I'm going to carefully take this, put the little Tic Tac logo on top in the center. I think that's about it there, like that should be good. Now push down one side. Oh, slipping around a little bit. That's okay, I can straighten it out. Push down the other side. How are we doing? That'll work. That's looking beautiful, actually. And push down. Now, I advise you don't make this 5 minutes before, because you're going to find out, if you do give this away as a souvenir, people, they really, really examine the box. They cannot believe, first, that there's a quarter in the box, okay? They can't believe that they saw it go. Even if you said, notice, that forget about the magic and the prediction and the impossible penetration, how visual it is. Even if you took out of your pocket this Tic Tac box, and it's so interesting to really try to understand all the levels of kind of mystery that are going on with a trick like this. And that is, even if you showed, look, I was able to get a coin inside the box without tearing the edges. Okay, now they might think, what'd you do? Did you steam it off? Did you somehow, but that in itself is a cool little puzzle, let alone a souvenir of a live impossible magic event where their eyes and ears recorded in real time this impossible penetration. Okay, so that's my setup. Put this aside, we've got this, get rid of these. Now, next step is the force. So I keep this in my pocket, okay? And I always remember when I'm performing this that it's facing, the coin is on the inside. That's important, because I don't want to, when I take this box out, I don't want to say, hey, I'm going to give you the quarter, and I'm also going to give you the, take this out and have one of these glands, turn around, the mints. It's like, what the hell is he doing behind his hand? Very important that you're able just to take it right out. So that box is ready to go there, okay? Now, the force. Any force is fine, okay? But the force I'm going to use in this case is I'm going to have a few cards, and this is why this is a great opening trick, is because I'm going to have this set up with the 3 hearts, plus a few indifferent cards, have this all set, okay, turned over in the card case. I can be here. Now, let's say I'm going to introduce my quarter and say, hey, I'm going to show you a card trick, and in fact, it's a new one, so I often kind of, I screwed it up a couple of times, so to really put pressure on myself, I'm going to risk some money, going to give you some money if I screw it up, and I take that out. But now, you don't have to pretend. I've got it pre-drawn. But, I mean, with a bit of practice, I think you're going to find you're going to draw your 3 very similarly every time to the one in your pocket, and the heart too. But here, it makes it absolutely perfect. I just pretend to draw it behind my fingers like this, and I blow on it. Put the marker aside. Okay, that's my prediction. Take the cards out. Gonna deal through, and when you feel like it, you can just say, give me the money. And when they say stop, this is a turnover force. I've used it on a few tricks in this channel, where I deal through, and as soon as they say, give me the money, I raise both hands out of the sphere of focus. I've created this sphere of focus, right? So I apologize, when you take the cards out, I like to put this inside. Now, they could hold it in their hand. You could put the coin under a glass, but I love the audio component. The more you engage the senses, tactile, audio, the sense of smell, depending on what I've had for lunch, the more you engage the senses, the more real and relative, the more people can connect with the trick. So that's there. As soon as they say, give me the money, I move both hands away and I say, now wait a second. And I come up and I just sort of say, well, now wait a second. And as I'm doing that, I'm just turning over the packet, right? Some gesture. I say, no, wait a second. You might be thinking that I visually controlled you. And again, there's this, wait a second, it goes down and then all focus goes to here. You might think I visually controlled you, that there's something about the 7 that, psychologically really increased the probability of you saying stop there. So rather than any of the cards that you saw the faces of, we're going to go with the next card, okay? And because I turn this over when I put it down, I know it's going to be my force card. You got to be careful. You don't want to do one of these. Heartbreaking. You're here. Boom. What do we got? 3 hearts. Boom. Gather these up. Put them all on top. You're here. Spill this out. Like that. Like this. Show that. They think the trick's over. And what a cool trick. They call it stop wherever they want. You written down, you risk a quarter, whatever. And I say, well, you know what? Tell you what, now let's pretend I'm not going to give it to them as a souvenir. I'll say, there it is. I guess I get to keep my quarter. But look, I'm going to do something with a quarter that you'll never forget, okay? And I take up my box of mints, and I want to make it look like I take this and just smash it through. So I'm going to use this secret turnover again. But because this is such a small object, I need a much smaller action. It's just here and here, okay? It's just this. You don't even need your thumb. You can do it just with your fingers, okay? Now this is about controlling where they're looking, because first I have focus here. Then I come out and make sure they have time to see this is empty, okay? They can see it's empty, so boom, like this. And it's funny, when I first came up with this, of course I had the idea of trying to hide this inside the box, up underneath the label, right? A little bit of glue, maybe a bit of a magnet, something sticky. Just not practical, just not dependable. I'd take it out and see it's already fallen a bit, or a bit of it would be showing. This is totally 100% practical. So it's here. So it goes from focus here to focus here. Then I bring this up, and as I bring this up, I put it into thumb palm. I'm just going to close my hand and put it in the thumb palm, okay? So it's 1, 2, up into thumb palm. Both hands could have mirror each other. Lots of cover here for it to go up into thumb palm to turn this over and smack. Now, to really add to the visual, what I like to sometimes do is I say, look, well, I'm going to show you something with a quarter that you'll never forget. So this is almost a foreshadowing. You put it right on the surface. And the cool thing about this is here they know, okay, it's on the surface. Then I take it, off, go into this action and the smash, and the next time they see the coin, it's like, okay, it's got this sense that it was on top, now it melted through, okay? Or you can simply do this. Maybe you did offer to give that to someone. You can keep it as a souvenir. And you say, actually, give it back to me for a second because I'm going to try something. Then you take it back and you're here. But the key is to make sure that you don't rush this. If you take this quickly out of your pocket and do this, really give it their beats. This image is key. Boom, boom. No shame in saying, watch very carefully. Or get someone with a lighter. Wave this. Heat up the plastic a bit. You can rub this on your arm to warm it up. Any of that stuff. And then boom, like this. Don't worry about the thumb palm coin. Everybody is going to be vomiting on this. Everybody's eyes are on this. They just saw the coin that you wrote, the 3 of hearts, go inside. Let's do this. I'm just going to go through the cards, and at some point, seriously, I didn't even set that up.